The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning,
Good
everyone.
morning, everyone.
This is
This is Rajiv from Contd Technologies.
Thank you
Thank you
for
for joining our webinar on what is phishing.
The
The
webinar
will be presented by Mr. Nikhil More, who
who's an
is an online marketing manager at Quickheal Technologies Private Limited.
Nikhil
Nikhil has
8 years of
8 years of
experience
experience into digital marketing,
and he's
and he is also an avid photographer. Nikhil is also a recognized internet marketing strategist for the antivirus industry. He offers his vast experience in implementing comprehensive online marketing programs for the antivirus e-commerce industry. At Quickheal, Nikhil is associated with the cyber security program, which is the company's corporate social responsibility initiative. I'm handing over the mic to Nikhil. Have a good one.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Quickheal's webinar on what is phishing. Before we begin the webinar, we will be talking about an important aspect of internet browsing, and we all know internet is good to use for everyone. We connect with people whom we haven't seen or wouldn't be meeting face to face. But internet, as it is good for good people, it's also a medium which is bad for when it comes to cyber criminals trying to steal information from you without your knowledge or without your consent about sharing that knowledge. And this kind of knowledge stealing is called as phishing. So let's begin with what we'll be covering today in today's webinar. We will talk about what is social engineering. We will then see what is a phishing attack. We'll also see notable phishing attacks, types of phishing attacks, different kinds of phishing attacks, types to identify and types to avoid phishing attack, the most important one. Now, let's begin with understanding what is social engineering attack. Now, it is a way of criminals to gain access to information systems. The purpose of social engineering is usually to secretly install spyware or other malicious software, or to trick a person in handing over his vital information like password or other sensitive financial or personal information. Social engineering is also one of the most effective routes of stealing confidential data from organizations. In a recent incident, researchers have uncovered a group of Wall Street savvy hackers that has penetrated the email accounts of more than 100 companies, a feat that allowed to obtain highly valuable plans concerning corporate acquisitions and insider information. The science of social engineering it's a psychological manipulation, and it's tricky, or it's a deception to steal information. Now, before we proceed into knowing about what is phishing and uh, how do you stop it, and go into the main details, let's understand what would people do in a very prominent scenario that has come across for a lot of people. Uh, this scenario is where uh, people who understand emails coming to people. Say, for example, you receive an unknown email that informs you that you have won a lottery. I get to see such kind of emails very frequently. Now, the email will ask you to share your personal or bank information. It also will ask you for information about your account number and the other vital information so that they can transfer funds to your account. What should you do? Should you respond to this email? Option 1 says yes. Option 2 says no. But always remember, these kind of attacks, these kind of emails generally are received by lots of people, and these emails have a sum, the amount mentioned in that email, which is very lucrative, which is very attractive, and that might decept you to giving information. So in today's let's ask today's audiences what do they feel. We have about 60% of the audience have casted their votes. We'll wait for another 10 seconds before we go ahead and declare the results of this opinion poll. It's quite interesting to see a lot of people are already vigilant about the do's and don'ts of the internet. Okay, I'll close the poll now, and let's see what the results are about this poll. Well, 84% of today's audience says that you should not respond to such kind of emails. And yes, audience, you're very accurate at this judgment of yours. So pack your bags. So let's begin. Let's see what is phishing. Now, phishing is an attempt to acquire sensitive information such as usernames, passwords, credit card information by showing or by deploying that it's from a trustworthy entity in an electronic communication. This communication, which misleads or become from popular social websites, uh, banking websites, financial institutions, online payment processors, or IT administrators, are commonly used to lure unsuspecting public. Phishing emails may contain links to websites that are infected with malware. Phishing is typically carried out by email spoofing or instant messaging, or it often directs users to enter details at a fake website who looks and feels almost identical to a legitimate one. Phishing is an example of social engineering techniques used to deceive users and exploit the poor usability of current web security technology to be more precise. Phishing is a continual threat that keeps growing day by day, and the risk grows even larger when it comes from social media networks. Today's most popular social channels are like Facebook, Twitter, MySpace. Hackers commonly use these sites to attack persons using these media sites in their workplace, in their homes, or in public in order to take or steal personal or security information that can affect the user or the company in which he works. Phishing is also used to portray trust uh, in the user, since you usually not tell the site or program being visited is not real when it occurs when a hacker has a chance to access personal information such as passwords, usernames, security codes, or credit card numbers, among other things. Now, uh, there's a very interesting article that was published in the Forbes magazine in the month of August this year, and they have attempted to define phishing in a very simpler language. They said that the reason phishing problems persist even after 1 decade of anti-phishing technologies being sold is that phishing is a technological medium to exploit human weakness, and the technology cannot fully compensate for human weakness. So that's the reason, people, you have to be vigilant when it comes to phishing. Notable phishing attacks. In November 2013, 110 million customers, that works out to about 11 crore customers, customer information or credit card records were stolen through phishing attack from a subcontractor account. In the same month, in the month of September 2014, that's this year, personal and credit card data for 100 plus million shoppers from 2200 Home Depot stores were posted for sale on hacking website. Now, this data has been taken from the very popular website Wikipedia. Now, let me tell you how devastating this effects could be of phishing attacks. Phishers target customers of banks and online payment services. Now, most common medium of sending out the communication is emails. These emails that supposedly come from banks or financial institutions may also be portrayed to be coming from income tax department or government bodies that have been used to steal sensitive data from taxpayers. Earlier, phishing emails were sent indiscriminately in expectation that some emails would be received by a few customers of a given bank or service. Recent research shows that phishers may in principle be able to determine which bank potential victims would be easy targets, and then they target bogus emails to these people. Experiments show a success rate of over 70% of phishing attacks on social networks. In the year 2013 till the month of December, CryptoLock or ransomware infected 250,000, that's 250,000 personal computers by targeting businesses using a zip archive attachment that claimed to be customer complaint, and later targeting general public using a link and an email regarding a problem clearing a check. The ransomware scrambles and locks files on the computer and requests the owner to make a payment in exchange to the key to unlock and decrypt the file. The ransomware demanded anywhere from $50 to $500 to remove the file decryption. Now, going ahead, before we proceed deeper into knowing what are phishing attacks, let's take an opinion poll about a very interesting topic that we have also discussed in our past webinars, and also like to know from our intelligent audience today. If the payment page of an online shopping site does not have a secure URL that begins with HTTPS, is it still safe to go ahead and provide bank or credit or debit card details to the site? The first option is yes. The second option is no. Audience, please cast your vote, and we would like to know from you as to what is your opinion if you should be sharing information to these shopping sites, popular sites where you go frequently for shopping, if it's not secure. Now, very importantly, please understand, secure means the name of the URL should begin with HTTPS. S stands for secure here. Okay, we have almost 70% of your audience casted their vote. We'll wait for another 10 seconds before we go ahead and declare the results of the opinion poll. Yeah, we have about 75% now. Excellent. I'm going to close this poll and declare the results. Let's see what the results say. 80% of today's audience says that if it's not secure, you should not share information. Well, audience, excellent judgment. You're very correct. If the site does not say that it is secure, it does not have the it doesn't start with HTTPS, do not share financial information. So very well, we'll proceed with identifying or finding out what are the different kind of phishing attacks. So the list of phishing attacks would comprise of spear phishing, the most widely used phishing attack, clone phishing, whaling, a very important phishing attack, voice phishing, and smishing. Very interesting facts. Let's go ahead and see what are these one after the other. So I'll start with spear phishing. Now, phishing attempts, this kind of spear phishing attempts directed at specific individuals or companies that have been termed spear phishing. So the attackers may gather personal information about their target to increase the probability of their success. This technique by far is the most successful on the internet today, accounting for 91% of attacks. The second kind of phishing is clone phishing. So let's try. This is a little technical, but I will try and simplify it for you. A clone phishing is a type of phishing attack whereby a legitimate or a previously delivered email contains an attachment or a link, has the content and the recipient's address taken from it, and used to create an almost identical or cloned email. The attachment or link within this email is replaced with a malicious version of the same attachment and then sent from an email address which is spoofed, which is almost close to the original sender. It may be a claim to be a resend of the original or an updated version of the original email. This technique could be used to pivot indirectly from a previously infected machine and gain a foothold on another machine by exploiting social trust associated with inferred connection due to both parties receiving the original email. So understand, people, to be very put in very simple terms, an email which is as good as the original with some changes to the original and a malicious program or a malware attached to it. Let's see what's a whaling attack. Now, several phishing attacks have been directed specifically at senior executives or high-profile targets within businesses, and the term whaling has been coined for these kind of attacks. Whaling is a type of a fraud that targets high-profile end users such as C-level corporate executives, politicians, and celebrities. Before we go ahead, it's a very important aspect that is covered, that is also used in these phishing attacks. Let's know from today's audience, what do they feel about communication that is coined or is shown as it is coming from a legitimate source. Let's say you receive an email from your bank, from a bank, say, and that email asks you to provide them your vital information. Information could be your password, which is your net banking password, could be your ATM pin, could be your credit card number or a CVV number. What should you do? Should you respond to such email with by providing all such details, or should you delete the email and call up your bank and report them about the email immediately? Let's see what the audience today has to say about it. We have about 75% of our audience have casted their votes. Okay, we'll wait for another 10 seconds before we close the opinion poll and share the results of today's opinion poll with our intelligence audience today. Okay, I'm now going to close the poll. We have about 81% of our audience casted their vote. Let's see how the audience has voted. This is amazing. 100% all of today's audience feel that you should not respond to such kind of emails, and people, trust me, and any email message that requests banking information is probably a phishing scam. All the legitimate most of the legitimate banks will never request for such information by email. I've been getting notifications from banks, I've been getting SMS notifications from various banking institutions I'm associated with, that they never ask for information over an email which is pertaining to their account. So very well done, audience. Let's move ahead. Let's try and understand the other two phishing attacks, which is growing like anything these days. The first one is voice phishing, or it is also called as phone phishing. Now let's understand more about phone phishing. Phishing is no longer dependent on emails, as I said earlier. Fraudsters or bad guys have started using telephone as a new pawn. In a phishing call scam, the victim receives a phone call from a person who poses that he's from a bank, or he's a is from some software firm or any legitimate or well-known organization. If it's from a bank, then they will be usually related to the bank account number being a victimized bank account number where there is been a fraudulent activity, where the caller will instruct the victim to call another number. Now this another number, which again is attended by an automated attendant. Now this attendant will ask the caller for their bank account details like their account number, their PIN number, their password. In some instances, phishing email may instruct the victim to call a phone number, which is generally a toll-free number, and that toll-free number takes again the same information. This is a very dangerous kind of an attack because these attacks are called as phishing attack, and here people thinking that this is a genuine call, thinking that it is really from a bank or a financial institution that they're associated with, give away the information. Now, how would the call go? The call sometimes goes like, "Hi, Mr. More, this is call from a very popular bank, say XYZ Bank. We have received reports of illegal withdrawals from your bank account, and in order to contain the situation and safeguard your account, we need you to confirm your account number, the expiration date of your credit card, the phone numbers at the back of your credit card, the CVV number, etc., etc., so on." People, if you get such kind of calls, never ever respond to these voice calls. The second kind of attack is smishing that we have seen. Now, SMS phishing uses cell phone text message to deliver victim to induce other people to divulge their personal information. This method is used to actually capture people's information in text messages, maybe a website URL. But it has become more common to see telephone number that connects to an automated voice response system. Cyber criminals leave no stone unturned when it comes to having their way. Recently, there has been a sharp surge of phishing attacks that involve short message service or SMS. Targets will be sent SMS where they'll be asked to click a link to a spoofed website. The website might ask the target for their personal information and infect their computer with a malware. In some SMSs, the target is asked to call a certain number, which is a toll-free number most of the times, and they then verify their personal information. Here, even the phishers use scare tactics to trick the target. For instance, you might receive an SMS which says your ATM card has been suspended or deactivated, and to reactivate the service, you must call an XYZ number immediately. These kind of attacks are very prominent these days, and if you receive such kind of attacks, never respond to these attacks. Now, I would like to show you on your screen. You are seeing a sample of a phishing email. This has been taken from Microsoft, where they have in their initiative about informing about phishing. They have shown a sample of how does a phishing email probably look like. Please note the highlighted sections in yellow. You see the way the email has been addressed. There is sometimes spelling mistakes. The links, the source from which this information is deemed to have come from. Let's point out what are the pointers in a phishing attack. If you have seen, it's a generic greeting. First thing, if you have seen. Now, generally, where I receive emails from my banks, from reputed banks, from major banks, is they will have a personalized greeting on the email. The email would begin with to Mr. Nikhil More. It's not hi, as you have seen in the phishing email. The sender's address, the email address from which you have received the email, that's again a fake address. So keep a watch on the sender's address. Always phishing attacks, you will find one thing in common is they sense an urgency. It's a false sense of urgency that some action needs to be taken by you immediately. There are unusual URLs on which are mentioned in that email. The email appears like a web page. It doesn't appear as an email. It appears as a web page, and there might be spelling or grammatical errors in these things. How to avoid phishing attacks? Very simply, never entertain unsolicited emails or SMSs. Your bank will never ask you for confidential information via calls or text. If you do receive any such communication, immediately contact your bank and report them about you receiving such call or SMS. Avoid accessing websites via links in email messages, especially those asking for personal information. It's always safe to type a URL manually into a web browser or into a search engine like Google. Do not fill any kind of form that comes along with an email. If you receive any email from your bank that conveys a sense of urgency or a threat, then call up the bank and verify the situation. Keep your your computer's operating system updated and patched. Get an antivirus program that blocks phishing emails and websites. Check your bank statements regularly if anything is unusual and report it to your bank immediately. Keep your web browsers updated and patched. Provide your personal information only on secure websites, as we have spoken about what are secure websites earlier. Secure websites generally will always have the URLs that begin with HTTPS. As shown in the picture on the right of your screen, you would see the URL starts with an HTTPS. There's also a padlock symbol which is locked. Now, this will ensure that this site on which you are going to enter any information is secure. Now, if you click on the padlock icon, it should generally it will show you the digital certificate that verifies the authenticity of the website. Now, a lot of people have been asking us about if I'm not sure if the website is safe or not, what should I do? Now, let me ask the same question to today's audience. Say you are on a shopping site, you're shopping on an online site which you know is safe or which has been recommended by your friends, but you're still not sure whether it is safe to provide your financial information to the site. What should you do? Should you cross your fingers and go ahead with the purchase? Or should you opt for a cash on delivery and check the product before paying for it? Let's see what today's audience has to say about it. We have about 60% of today's audience casted their vote. We wait for another 10 seconds before we go ahead and declare the results of this opinion poll. It's very interesting to see how people are aware about the security of their bank accounts. We have about 75% audience casted their votes. Let's close the poll, and I'm going to declare the results of the opinion poll. 99% of today's audience feels that they should opt for a cash on delivery and check for the product before paying. All I would like to tell you guys is always remember, if you feel something is wrong within a website, then go by your instinct. Always use the cash on delivery option if possible. Let's continue. I would like to share with you how QuickHeal helps in making sure that there is an security to all its QuickHeal users. Now, the recent version 16.0 released by QuickHeal, the product has an option for safe banking. As we told earlier, this feature in the product will keep you safe from any phishing attack or it will try and identify phishing website. It will also protect you against threats where information about you, personal information about you is being stolen via identity theft, or it will also detect keyloggers. Now, keyloggers are basically programs which record every keystroke that you uh, uh, use when typing information. The other feature about the product is web security. Web security, this feature automatically restricts you from landing on websites designed for phishing attacks. Very importantly, it's always good to be safe than to be sorry. So here, QuickHeal's web security helps you to stay away from phishing attacking websites. Lastly, and the most important feature is email security, because as we have discussed earlier, emails are the primary medium via which phishing attacks are being carried out. So email security feature in QuickHeal latest version 16.0 blocks spam, infected or phishing emails from reaching your inbox. I remember a very important key message that my friend Rajiv talks in his blogs all the time. The key message is there is no silver bullet for phishing attacks or cybercrime for that matter. But taking the right precautionary measures and seeking help from your right authorities and using the right security solution do place us at a safer spot. So be web smart. Thank you very much for attending today's webinar. It was an interactive session for me as well. I hope this was a learning experience for you. If you have any questions or queries about today's webinar, you can please write us to at corporatecommunication@quickheal.co.in. You can follow us our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/quickhealav, and follow our Twitter handle at twitter.com/quickheal. To know more about QuickHeal products, please visit www.quickheal.com. And if you'd like to read more about the blogs published by QuickHeal, visit blogs.quickheal.com. On the screen, you'll see the sources from which we have derived information in today's presentation. Thank you very much from me, and I am now handing over the mic to Rajiv to conclude.
Thank you everyone for being with us. Thank you everyone for being with us at this webinar. I hope you had a very interactive session with Nikhil. Next week, we also have lined up a very interesting webinar on Facebook, and we hope that you will join us for it. So until then, goodbye and have a good one.